All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Search Bar Live. We're going to talk today about this weekend. What a wild weekend that all these things happened with OpenAI, with Sam Altman, with Microsoft. I just quickly, before we started this recording, this call, put out a list of all the timeline of everything that happened. So we're going to work through that. And we'll see how this conversation goes. So these conversations in the search bar are a new thing that we're doing. Just a little bit of a recap for those who are wondering what the heck is going on. My newsletter was getting too long, and so I decided, instead of me writing the news every day, I'm going to just talk about it, and then hopefully some of you who are in the call have even more information on the situation than I do, and then I can learn from this from you guys as well. So let's see, let's get started. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share my notes here. Anybody have anything you wanted to start with about, anybody have inside information? Is anybody on this call who like really knows a lot about what's going on with OpenAI? Probably not. We're all in the dark. If you're on the call and you want to contribute, you can either just start talking, or I have the chat open, and that seems to be what's easiest for me. So looks like, bear with me here, I'll get better at sharing things. All right. I think they should change the name to Open Pandora. Gosh, there's a lot going on, right? Well, let's kind of go through what we know. And like I said, I just admitted a whole bunch of people. For some reason, I've somehow made it that I have to admit people manually. I wish there was a way I could change that. Anyways, so we'll stop to do that every now and then as people come in. So let's talk about what started. And I think what I'm going to do is just click through. I bookmarked a whole bunch of things, and we're just going to click through and read these. Oh, great. All these links don't work. Okay. Well, maybe we'll use my notes. All right. So this is the thing. Oh, and now we've got. Okay. This is the thing that started everything off. OpenAI made this announcement, and this was just Friday. I think just before markets closed. I mean, it's like end of the week Friday, kind of an odd time to announce things. And the thing that got me, okay, so they say, and we'll make this a little bit bigger here. The board of OpenAI said Mr. Altman's departure follows a deliberative review process by the board, which concluded that he was not consistently candid in his communications with the board, hindering its ability to exercise its responsibilities. The board no longer has confidence in his ability to continue leading OpenAI. So that's a big deal, right? The board no longer has confidence. And this was the part that really, really got me. That OpenAI was deliberately structured to advance our mission to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. So to me, I felt like this statement was saying OpenAI is not happy with where Sam Altman was leading in terms of creating safe AGI. Does everybody know what we're talking about when we say AGI? Okay, because so artificial generalized intelligence, right? And the or general intelligence, that AI that is smarter than humans. And to me, it seems like it's eventual that it's going to happen. You know, it's not like something that we're like, ooh, maybe one day we might create this machine that can think smarter than humans and do more than humans. It will happen. And I think the AI leaders are divided in as to when that will happen. Is that going to be, you know, in the next few years? Is it going to be 10 years from now? Is it going to be 50 years from now? We don't know. But it is something that is very, very important that we get it right. And so the board said, all right, Altman is out of the board. Now, so Sam Altman I think most of you know this, but just in case, because I have this varied audience. I think some of you are just starting to pay attention to what's happening with OpenAI. Um, so Altman was one of the co-founders of OpenAI, and a lot of people don't know that he co-founded it along with Elon Musk was one of the co-founders. And Musk is not happy now about OpenAI no longer being open. The whole idea was that it was a safe, open way for AGI to be developed. And then Microsoft now owns a large stake in OpenAI. So we're going to talk about what happens with Microsoft, which it blew my mind this morning when I woke up and heard the news. So where do we go from here? So then Sam Altman tweets, "I loved my time at OpenAI. It was transformative for me personally." So he's basically saying, yep, this is it. Goodbye. No longer with OpenAI. Next, Greg Brockman. And Greg Brockman is another co-founder of OpenAI. Really interesting to read. I don't know a whole lot about Greg Brockman, but seems that he and Sam have, quite a solid relationship in building this company that they've built. So he said, "I'm super proud of what we've all built since starting in his apartment 8 years ago. We've all been through tough times together." But then he says, "I quit." Oh, I can't highlight him saying I quit. That's an image. So he quit, and so Sam Altman's gone, and Greg Brockman quit, and then he also tweeted this big long thing that said, Sam and him are shocked at what the board did. Let us first say thank you. Okay, blah, blah. So here's his recollection of what happened, or his idea of what happened. Last night, Sam got a text from Ilya. So that's Ilya Sutskever, again, OpenAI. If you are not familiar with Ilya, I would really encourage you checking him out. I tweeted something on the weekend about The Guardian, just a little 10-minute clip of Ilya talking about what AGI is and where it's headed and some of the concerns and some of the excitements over it. And so this man is very, very interesting to listen to in talking about AGI and just AI in general. So this is the hilarious thing. At 12:23, Ilya sent a Google Meet link, which is hilarious because, you'd think they'd use Microsoft Teams, perhaps. Greg was told he was removed from the board, and but it was vital to the company that he would retain his role. That's interesting. Sam has been fired. And then around the same time as when that blog post happened. All right. So, okay. Well, that's where we're at now, but there's much, much more. Next. Oh, that's the same one. For a little bit of comic relief, Elon Musk tweets leaving this year in case anyone needs a job, with a link to jobs at X. For a moment, I thought, wow, imagine that Altman goes back and reunites with Musk and then creates Grok into AGI. I mean, Musk and Altman, I think anytime you hear them talk about each other, I think they really respect each other, but there are some rifts and disagreements there, right? So next, enter Microsoft. Oh, I should probably use Satya's. Oh, well, it's fine. The tweet itself. Okay, so Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, tweeted, so Microsoft Ignite, if you have not watched this event, I linked to it in the document that I gotta figure out why the links aren't working now. I just published it super quickly before we got online. But the Microsoft Ignite event is truly mind-blowing. Like, the things I'm gonna share by the end of this call that businesses will be able to do with GPTs really, really are mind-blowing. And so Microsoft basically is saying, yeah, we made all these big announcements. We're committed to delivering this. We have a long-term agreement with OpenAI. with full access to everything we need to deliver on our innovation agenda and exciting product roadmap. And we remain committed to our partnership. Yeah, Renee, 100 announcements, right? There's so many things. And that's when I realized that I couldn't write newsletter anymore, because just that one Microsoft event was like more than, we should all be paying attention to just that. And all of the stuff that happened with Altman and all the drama that happened over Twitter, it really is a distraction from I think what's going to happen with GPTs as businesses get a hold of them and start doing things with them on their own private servers is absolutely world changing. And so forget the drama. The GPTs are what we need to be paying attention to. So together
Can I
we
ask a question?
deliver meaningful benefits of this technology to the world. Somebody wanted to say something there, or that was a call?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm confused about something. Let me know if I'm asking a question too early, but Microsoft is here talking about their AI, right? In this tweet. So is there an OpenAI and a Microsoft AI?
Microsoft, who can explain the situation? I want to make sure I don't explain it incorrectly, how Microsoft and OpenAI are connected. Gagan, I see you on the call. I feel like you could probably explain that well. Otherwise, I'll take a stab at it.
Yeah. So Microsoft went ahead and bought a certain stake. I think it's 49% in OpenAI. So Microsoft owned 49% of OpenAI, but in the deal, there are certain clauses. So Microsoft have exclusive access to all the OpenAI models because they are providing them the infrastructure for running those models and training on the Azure cloud. So before anything comes out, Microsoft have it. And Elon Musk have also highlighted that he's concerned because Microsoft literally have everything that OpenAI has. So all the model weights and everything is exclusive to Microsoft. So it's like if OpenAI comes up with AGI tomorrow, Microsoft can literally stop them to release it to public and release it as their AI. So Microsoft have got like a lot of rights, and that's why like in the Copilot and in Microsoft Docs and everywhere, you're now seeing like GPT is getting included. And even if before DALI 3 was available with ChatGPT, it was available by Microsoft. So before OpenAI released DALI 3, Microsoft was able to release it in their product. So Microsoft have got like all these access to these models and everything, all the data before anyone can get access. Like it's like really weird relationship, but Satya has played it like really well. And the deal clauses are not like open, but some have speculated that Microsoft literally own everything that's OpenAI have generated so far. So
interesting. Does that make sense, Renee? Do you have more questions? Or
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's complicated. Like they're very closely connected, and Microsoft invested, was it 10 billion, Gagan? 10 billion in OpenAI?
No, they did not invest it 10 billion, but at 90 billion evaluation, they gave them $10 billion of credits, Microsoft Azure credits for training their models. And the deal is that as OpenAI keeps on making profit, Microsoft will be getting certain percentage of that profit from the OpenAI. It's not like Microsoft paid OpenAI 10 billion. It's that they gave them Azure credits so that OpenAI can come and train their models. And once OpenAI start turning profit, Microsoft will be getting a certain percentage of that profit.
And Azure is essentially the same as Google Cloud, right? Like it's the place where all the AI tools live, where the servers are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and Microsoft is playing like a double game over here because with the Azure, they are like with the Ignite event, they mentioned that now you can train open source models and fine tune them. And on the other side, they are providing GPT as well over there. So closed source, open source, everything is under just one cloud. So Satya is like playing like really good game. He's winning with closed source ones, and he's winning with open source ones as well. So
it really is a strategic game, isn't it? Like what the way the whole thing played out, as if it was just suddenly, ooh, something came up and we fired the board. And to me, it seems all, or we fired Sam. To me, it seems all orchestrated. And I actually think it's the way that things should be. I'll get to that in just a moment. So then Sam, adding to the the drama, tweets, and I think this was Saturday morning, tweets, "I love you all," which somebody soon caught on that there's something there. ILYA is Ilya, right? Ilya Sutskever. So it was like this little private message somehow, a little secret message. I think of, we're still, I don't know what it is, what the secret message is. And so all day Saturday was all these people who were just, saying how amazing Sam Altman is and sharing their support. And I'm sure you probably saw this, but there was, person after person was, and these were all OpenAI employees that were tweeting a heart and retweeting Sam Altman. And then even, so Mira Murati, who became the interim CEO, right, of OpenAI, also replied to Sam Altman with a heart. So, there's a lot of love going on at OpenAI, and to me, this seemed like, it seemed orchestrated that it was happening. Now, next, Altman tweets this picture of himself saying, "First and last time I ever want to wear one of these," and he's got a guest badge to OpenAI. So he's confirming to the world, yes, I am no longer the CEO. I'm here as a guest at OpenAI. Okay, again, that rest of 51% is mostly large VCs and OpenAI employees. That's interesting. Do you know what percentage of OpenAI is owned by the employees?
No, and nothing is available publicly because OpenAI itself is owned by a non-profit, so they don't need to disclose anything.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So then the other interesting thing is that Altman has said repeatedly that he doesn't have shares in OpenAI. He said it when he was in front of Congress that he doesn't have any financial stake in the company. He said, "I've made lots of money in other places." I think that's really, really interesting. It sort of frees him to go where the innovation is. I guess.
And I heard that he was not even taking salary.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah. So, not everything is about money. It's very, very interesting. Okay, so then here's the plot twist that. Go ahead, Thomas. Was that you?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you unmuted. You muted.
I didn't realize I was unmuted.
Oh,
I was talking to my dog.
oh, that's great. Okay, well, hello to your dog. Okay, so here's where the drama just twisted again. And so this was just this morning so this is Eastern at 2:58 Eastern, so just before midnight in their in Pacific time zone. The mission continues, and Satya is now Altman and Brockman are employed by Microsoft. So we remain committed to our partnership with OpenAI, and we have confidence in our product roadmap, our ability to continue to innovate. One of the things that they talked about in the Ignite event was they brought NVIDIA up on the stage, and partnership has, or Microsoft has a huge partnership now with NVIDIA to create new technologies, like to create actual physical technology with NVIDIA. So innovating is what they're talking about. And then we look forward to getting to know Emmett Shear. So Emmett Shear was the founder of Twitch. This is where it gets even more a little side story. And now he is the interim CEO of OpenAI. We'll get to his tweet in a minute. So now OpenAI has a new leadership team, and Microsoft is continuing to work with them. And here's the part. We're extremely excited to share the news that Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, together with colleagues, so all those people who tweeted their support of Altman, basically are probably jumping over now to be employees of Microsoft, will be joining Microsoft to lead a new advanced AI research team. That's a big deal, right? And I don't understand the financial side of things, but to me, it seems like it was a way that they could get the brain power of the people who are going forward with AI very quickly. And I think Microsoft needs, that's where the innovation is going to happen, is what I think. Because well, let me just finish this up here and we'll get on to the GPTs. Okay. So here is Emmett Shear tweeted, and this was just today, that he got the call to be the interim CEO of OpenAI. He was the CEO and co-founder as well of Twitch. Okay. Let's see here. Partnership with Microsoft remains strong. I don't know, I don't know what this means for GPTs and the GPT store, and I think all of that goes ahead. Let's see here. It's clear that the process and communications around Sam's removal have been handled badly. Yeah, because it's just wild what happened just over a weekend. So here's his plan: is he's going to hire an independent investigator to figure out what happened. They're going to work with the employees and other investors and everybody to, sort of, I would imagine there's a lot of people with a lot of questions, as to what's going on right now. And they're going to reform the management and leadership team at OpenAI. Let's see if there's... Oh, and this part I think is important. The board did not remove Sam over any specific disagreement on safety. Their reasoning was completely different from that. Because their board announcement was really, it sort of implied that maybe they weren't moving safely towards AGI. Omar says hundreds of OpenAI employees threatened to resign and join Microsoft. And you shared a link here. Well, let's look at that. Oh yes, on the Verge, our not favorite SEO publication. Yeah, hundreds of OpenAI employees threatened to resign and join Microsoft. So that's kind of where I am now. Have I missed anything? Because I've been frantically putting everything together. Does anybody know any more recent news, or are we caught up here?
Yeah, it's they have signed like 700 or like 500 out of 700 employees have signed the letter to the board that resign now or we will resign and join Microsoft. There is a letter floating around on Twitter now.
Here it is.
Yeah.
500. There we go. Of 700 employees,
Funny enough, Ilya name is also there. Ilya is also asking in the letter. Ilya has also signed this letter.
This letter is for the board to resign, right?
Yeah, employees have signed this letter. So 505 of them have signed to so that Ilya, so that board can get fired. And Ilya has also signed this letter. If you scroll down,
here we go.
Ilya name is also there.
Huh. So what is going on? Does anyone want to throw any theories out or share some thoughts? Because before I could babble on for quite a while. All right, I'm going to babble on then. Who's left on the board? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I think what I want to talk about is why did this happen? And getting to know who all these people are, is something that I think we're going to be reading for quite a while. But why was it important for? Why did Sam Altman go to Microsoft? And I really think that it comes down to what happened with GPTs. So most of you probably know what GPTs are. They're a way you can basically build an app just with language. And I picture Microsoft showed this sort of representation of business of people working with GPTs in industrial settings, in a factory, and holding up their phone saying, okay, I've finished this part. Now what's the next step? Or give me the schematics of this. And then virtual reality shows 3D in front of them, the plans that they need. And it almost looks like, Tony Stark and Jarvis, just super future, but this is here. This isn't super future. This is here right now. So imagine I keep saying, I've been saying for months now how like I'm concerned about AI because of the jobs that will be lost. And we've already seen it with websites that, used to survive and make money off of Google. And then as Google moves more towards AI, we're the things that you knew for SEO aren't as effective anymore. That's a change right there. There's people who are cutting administrative jobs because so much can get done with AI. And that's just the start. But I've always said I want to focus on the positive, like there's good that's coming with AI. And it's been hard for me to explain what that is, because so far, like ChatGPT is fun, but it's not world changing for most people. Like for me, it is. All of the things, I can't imagine living my life without an AI assistant, the help that I get from them. But for most people in the world, like it hasn't radically changed their life. GPTs will. And the thing that's holding them back from changing the world is privacy issues. So Microsoft, I'll stop presenting here. Microsoft has made it so that now businesses can have their own server on Microsoft Azure. And they can basically use their own private GPTs that aren't going to be used for training of public information, public language models. And they're going to make it so that like any business. So imagine you sell a product and then your customers can basically use your app to like hold their phone up to your product in any angle or whatever and ask questions of your proprietary information that you've put into your GPT. So things like the training manual or the courses that you've created on what to do with this product, or like it's endless what people could do. You don't even need to create a course. You could, I can open, I tried it last night with the GPT I'm making for my helpful content course. I said, make me a course out of this information that I've given you. And it like started teaching me stuff and quizzing me just from me conversing with it, right? So imagine, that's fun for me to play with, but it's going to change how people communicate with computers. And GPTs for Microsoft are in Copilot, which is in Windows 11. So basically anybody with a PC already has access to these GPTs, and businesses will be able to be right in front of people, like right in their PC, with all this like intense communication. So I think that this is the start where things start to really, really accelerate. And IKEA is the perfect example, right? Like those instruction manuals, I think instruction manuals are a thing of the past. And then IKEA, there's so many things that you could do with, imagine you can just hold your phone up and go like, does this bolt go in here? Or is it this one that I need? And like all those questions, that's going to help so many people to do that. Yeah, Rebecca, go ahead.
Yeah, I know you mentioned at the beginning that one of the things that's kind of been speculated is that the development of AGI may have already happened, and that could have been part of like Altman's being let go because of some people being concerned. And I did see a clip from, I was looking it up when you were asking earlier about thoughts, but the name of the podcast is The Logan Bartlett Show, and Emmett Shear was on it back in June and basically explained that his concern, like he's excited about AI, but his concern is that it could be potentially, I believe he literally describes it as universe ending. Like it could literally, because it would start training itself, kind of do all of the things in all of the, movies we've seen about what AI could do. And he's very like doomsday about it. And he's like, it's not that I don't want to do it, but it is terrifying, was kind of his description. And so I think it's fascinating and a little bit telling that is part of like where the board of OpenAI might be standing right now, because that's the person that in all of this, they didn't just leave an interim CEO that was internal. Like they literally appointed another person who I don't think worked at OpenAI before that point, who is literally like pretty close to like a doomsdayist. And so anyway, I just thought that was an interesting thought process and might point towards like where their heads are at.
It is, and I think it seems to me that most of this is over the speed at which we advance towards AGI. And I keep thinking of Google, of course. To me, what Google has, the way Google's described Gemini, it's essentially multimodal GPT, right? Like it's got GPT has vision, has voice now, has code writing, and then also like all the things you can do with DALL-E. And when Demis Hassabis came out and said that what Gemini would do would eclipse ChatGPT, that was before GPT had vision and all those other things, right? So I don't know if when Gemini comes out, it will be better than what Microsoft and OpenAI currently have, or whether it will be like the same and maybe they've got to catch up a little bit. But I think when Google says that they're moving boldly and responsibly towards better AI, they're doing the right thing. Like they're moving, they've had this this path sort of figured out, and then ChatGPT kind of came and blew everything up because they're moving so incredibly fast. So when I saw Microsoft's announcement about the GPT, or OpenAI's announcement about GPTs, followed by Microsoft talking about what they're going to do, allow businesses to do privately, that's when I started thinking, okay, like this isn't just one day in the future, some crazy stuff is going to happen with AI. You know, this is like, it's going to be soon. The CEO of Anthropic kind of predicted that it wouldn't be next year, but the year after, that he called things reality bending was going to happen. And we've been talking about how tools like language models like ChatGPT can help improve things. But there's more than just language models too, right? Like GPT, one of the things Microsoft announced too was that you can have GPTs that are trained on your data. So I remember hearing a while back about Bloomberg was creating a GPT that's trained on all the financial data that they have. So when ChatGPT understands the connections between words and text, something trained on financial data explains an even deeper dimension of the connections between the finances of things. And so scientific discoveries are what is going to take off soon, you know. And then given that these are all possible by anybody, like you're not limited now by having to hire a programmer on your team in order to have the smartest people in your team brainstorm on what you could do with this technology in your business. So I think things are going to take off fairly fast. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Like, can you picture how GPT will change either your business or the world? Go ahead, Renee.
So I feel like I need to step back for just a second, because I feel like at this stage, I'm getting slightly confused between all of the advancements that are currently happening with AGI, and are all of the advances, I don't even know the right words for this question. Are all the advances that are currently happening going to make AGI less significant, or is AGI something that is such a level beyond anything we can comprehend currently, or even ASI? Because I can't help but wonder if they've already achieved both, and now they're just trying to figure out how to wrangle it.
Well, yeah, I mean, a month or so ago, Sam Altman popped into Reddit and, you know, wrote AGI has been achieved internally, which freaked everybody out. And then he was like, no, just kidding, I'm just memeing, which like not the kind of thing that you joke about. I really don't know. And I think, you know, it seems ludicrous to me that here we are, this group maybe talking about AGI when like a year ago, we probably didn't even know what that was, you know?
No clue.
Yeah, but let's just speculate. I think that everything that, let's talk about ChatGPT first. Everything that happens on ChatGPT improves it with the goal so that eventually it'll improve so much that it is AGI. Maybe not necessarily ChatGPT, but that it contributes, that we discover like, you know, something. I don't know if there will be an event that happens where because AGI, artificial intelligence, can't create something new yet. It can take all of the ideas in history and put them together. But when we get that spark of like, it can think and create and come up with new ideas. That's why why the helpful content system is so important, because Google needs us, the humans, to tell the world what's new in our industry, what's important, what's fresh. And AGI, or AI, I should say, can only take what's currently in the world, and it can make predictions, but it's not coming up with brand new ideas. So I think that everything that they do, in whether it's ChatGPT or whatever is advancing AI technology, is working towards this goal of just making it better and better and better until it's just the best. I don't know, Gagan, do you have thoughts on that? I feel like you're more qualified than I am to talk on this.
Even with the GPTs, like if you look at the privacy policy, OpenAI can use that data to train their models. So with GPTs, OpenAI is trying to collect case-specific data for doing reinforcement learning. So if I'm creating a GPT for content writing and Marie is creating another one for gardening, like you did, and you are having conversation with that, but that conversation is topic specific. So now OpenAI is getting topic specific conversations. So from me, they are getting topic specific conversations with content, and from you about gardening, from someone else about cars and everything. And then they can take all that little bits and combine that together and feed that back to GPT-4 and say to it that this is how people actually see this content, and this is the type of the conversation people want to have. And GPT-4 can adjust its weights according to that. So it's like creating a super useful tool that is not like case specific, but it's as general as possible. So creating a model that can do everything. So I think with the GPTs, with Ilya, I think that's where Ilya sort of went like off. Because with the GPTs, they are like collecting a lot of data that can actually make, if they use that for reinforcement learning in the future, that can make even GPT-4 really powerful.
Yes.
And they like a general model. So GPT-4 will know literally everything, and GPT-4 will also know like how to manipulate human, because it will have seen like so many conversations of humans with this specific topic. So GPT-4 may come to me and it may already know that Gagan is already interested in content and these type of the conversation he has been having. And now this is how I can manipulate Gagan to do something, to do some specific things. So GPT-4 can learn like manipulation as well. So it's like really edgy topics.
And that's why safety is so important, because there's so many.
Safety.
I think we can't even, like, we could come up with ideas of how society could be hurt by what's about to come, but I think we don't even know the half of it. There's just so many possibilities. Now, personally, I think that there are more exciting possibilities than terrifying ones, but the terrifying ones exist, and so we can't ignore those. But I also think that there are more people working on making AI good and helpful for society than those who want to try to use it for bad things. But like, no doubt, we're already going through. I mean, I get more spam phone calls now than I ever used to, and the more Google works to cut those down on my Pixel phone, like they do it, and then you get another wave of them as spammers figure out, how to manipulate. There will always be evil people, unscrupulous people who are trying to make money in bad ways. But I have a lot of hope for, I have more excitement than fear about what's ahead. But I wasn't always that way. Like, I think I went through a period where my own business has changed so much. And I think everybody's going through that, right? I know you are, Renee. Like, you're kind of in a place where you're like, what the heck am I going to do now, right? And I don't know what your answer is, but I also know that whatever's happening, yeah, you've gone through stages of grief for sure, right? And every business that I talk to, so like for years, my main way that I made money was with consulting with businesses that were struggling with Google rankings. And every business I talk to now is facing layoffs, is trying to understand this new landscape, trying to understand where their place is, and none of us know. So I don't know if for all of us on this call, is our future being the people who, even though we feel like we don't understand a whole lot of what's happening with AI, we know way more than the average business owner. And so some of us are going to be, very important consultants. And then some of us are going to create stuff. One of the challenges that I'm writing this little book with like interesting prompts to help people. I just started it on the weekend. I was watching football and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write a book on helping people prompt. So I'm like multitasking because AI can let us do so many things. Is to try. So AI can't come up with a brand new creative idea, but what it can do is help you brainstorm towards that. And so you can do all sorts of things with just the technology we have now. I haven't even, like when you combine vision, you can hold your phone up to something and go, I want to create something like this, but I don't have any idea how I'd get there. And it'll tell you like, oh, you're going to have to learn some minor robotics, but like it can talk you through those things, which is wild. So anyways, I've gone into Babel phase again, because I'm so excited about, but I can't see the full picture of what it is that people will be creating. I just know that there's good stuff coming. That doesn't help you right now though, does it?
Well, no, but it's funny you bring this up because it makes me think about something that Andy and I were talking about this weekend. When I was reading Sam Altman's description of what AGI was, something that I read, and I'm not going to get it exactly right, but think of it like a team member that can do anything you can do, right? And so it's like, okay, great. Well, it can't help me unclog my pipes. Unfortunately, it can't help me clean my house. So we started going through what does that mean, right? Because if I could do anything, I'd have it vacuum the stairs, but it can't do that. So as far as I know, please let me know.
Okay, so this is like in the world of bizarre coincidences, because I think we're just in some big movie or simulation or something.
Absolutely.
This weekend, my 10-year-old, she went to some craft thing and she made like this flower arrangement. And the green block that like you stick flowers
the
in?
styrofoam? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That can't go down the sink. So she clogged our pipes this weekend.
Oops.
And I used ChatGPT to say like, are we screwed? Like, do we need to call somebody, whatever, right? And so anyways, that was something that AI at this point is not fixing for me. And we had somebody come and help us with that. And I said to him, like, your job, anybody who's got a trade is really valuable right now, because we thought when like people thought when AI first came out, it would go after the
manufacturing,
like physical labor jobs first. And like there are factories where people have been replaced by robots using AI, but for the most part it's the intellectual jobs that are being affected at first. So anybody, if you're like a plumber, a contractor, a painter, somebody who has to like physically work, is a good time to be in those professions right now.
Right. Non-repetitive work is how I would put it.
Yeah.
But it got me to thinking about something else. And this is going to sound negative, and I don't mean for it to, against people in society. But if you start thinking about what does that mean? Like, how many employees could I get? Will they limit it? Will it all be for $20 a month or whatever it is we're paying now? I think it's 20. I don't know. But if we have a set of employees, let's just say that everyone gets 3 employees to go do whatever you want. Most people still just want a job, right? Mm-hmm. And so most people are not going to take advantage of that in the same way that maybe the people in this group right here are, because we already spent our anniversary weekend just brainstorming what would we do with a new set of employees. Not, oh my God, my life is going to end because my blog died, but we're already like, when will we get these new employees and what would we do with them? And I think that it's really interesting to start thinking that way of what would we create, what would we build.
When you say new employees, you're talking about like having a GPT or like something that's your assistant that will, an AI assistant?
Yeah, but what I read from Sam Altman was the way to think of AGI is like you have a team member, right?
Yeah.
that can do what you do. So so that made me think, well, if I have a team member, to me, that means I could have employees that are virtual AGI employees. Right?
Yeah, I don't
And
know if
then
we're
what would I
confusing
do?
AGI and AI. I think having an AI assistant is something, not an AI assistant. I already have, I think, about 20 GPTs that I use for myself, that I'm like,
Right.
they're my personal, when I want to summarize an article, I've made my own little GPT that does it the way that I want to do it, and so as I'm doing tasks, I have my own little personal assistants. I'll probably have thousands of those throughout my life. And all of us we'll all have any task that we want to do that we're like, oh, you know what, my assistant could help me with this. We'll have that. Now, I don't know how to bring AGI into that. I think there's so much about
Right.
AGI
That's what
that
I'm curious.
yeah. I don't know. Gagan, do you have a thought there on how to answer that part?
Also with AI and AGI in general, like most people are avoiding the fact that if intelligence is like so cheap and is available everywhere, then everything will be cheap. So it's not like what like I bought this coffee bottle and it cost me like $8. If AGI is there, it can figure out some factory to manufacture it. It can be $1.
Yeah.
So everything, the cost of the everything will go down. And even with the physical labor, I think that AGI will figure out way better tools than what we have today. Your plumber may have the tools like which look like normal, but AGI may come up with new tools that can make them really easier for them to do their work. Or AGI may come up with machines that can easily build tunnels. And I think that everything will become like, like friction. Like I used to work in corporate, but now I do like consulting. There used to be like so much friction. And I do think that if you in your company have friction, that's the ultimate like losing game for you. And you can replace that friction with some AI tools, which can, instead of people dealing with the friction, AI can deal with the friction, and your people, your employees can do the actual work. So if I'm going through a contract with the client, AI can just read that and provide me like a couple of things that are important, like how much is retainer price, what are the client concerns and everything. And employee can just read that. Okay, these are main concerns, so let's go. Not having to read like 200 pages of like a really long contract. So this is how I think employees should be using the AI to reduce the friction, like try to identify whatever friction is there, because for sure, like whenever people deal with people, there is always friction, and use AI to reduce that friction as much as possible. And you can get like more done from your like business perspective or from like your revenue perspective.
I'm thinking of like back in the 50s or 60s when there's some famous thing where they talked about how technology would change the future so that we'd have so much time on our hands, which was completely wrong, right? And what I'm finding is the more, AI is making me more productive. Like I clearly am doing more, which I was already super productive before. And here's the thing. I don't know, as a human, I think this is one of the things that's really important for all of us. As a human, we have to figure out how to not be productive sometimes, because we get this dopamine rush from like, oh, I created this video, I wrote this blog post, I did this, I made this money here, and I did this. And the dopamine is reinforcement learning for us, right? To say like continually advance and grow. And I think it's important for us, like our brains are not meant to be continually learning and advancing and pushing. And so I don't know, it's hard to step away and just enjoy life and not be advancing all the time. I think that's going to be our challenge.
Yeah, and even with the AI, I think there is like some talk like average will become outlier and outlier will become like super outlier. So people who already have some resources, they are in the middle class, they will become, if they use AI in right way, they will be shifted to the like really right side of the like prosperity. And people who are just in like lower half of the economy, they will become like middle class. But it will be really hard for them to go from middle class to like super rich, because they don't already have some expertise. So people who in 2023 don't have an expertise will be left behind. But like Mary, you already have expertise and you can leverage AI to do that. But I don't have like a brand associated with me as a
Mhm.
SEO specialist for like 10 years. So even if I come up with like really unique idea about using AI for SEO and I share it, less people will be listening it. More people will come after me that you are a scammer. You're trying to use AI to make money.
Mhm.
So experts can become like super experts, but the average will suffer. Like even if you are presenting a new idea, it will be like really hard. Even if the idea is like right idea, it will be really hard for you to survive. And I am feeling the same thing with the business as well. Like whenever I'm doing client calls, they have mentioned like AI, they want to use AI content. And then I need to go through these all helpful content and say that, okay, this is not how it should be done. This is how it should be done. And in all those calls, I'm seeing that business owners are seeing a lot of like noise, and they are thinking that they can become like super productive, but that's
Mm.
not the truth. People who are already productive, they can become super productive with AI, but business owners who have like a lot of friction in their processes already, it's not like they can flip a finger and have like their business
Yeah.
generate like 10x revenue or 20x revenue.
Those are really good points because, okay, so for me,
Yep.
you're right. I have a knowledge base of years of, studying things and sharing things, and so for me, that I'm excited about AI because it will allow me to do things with that. But how? I'm just thinking what you do, like all of you guys on this call. How do you get there? Because I don't think you realize how much knowledge and experience you do have. And I think we talk a lot about Google preferring brands. And I've sort of over the years built myself as a brand, like you might, if you recognize my name, you're gonna think about like certain things about Google quality or helpful content or all that, right? And I think that just comes from just doing the stuff. And so it's not like, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's so much right now that you could be building a knowledge base on that people don't know.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is like brand will become super brand by the time I
Yeah.
become a brand. So that's what
I hear
I'm
what you're
trying to say.
saying. Yeah. Yeah. I do hear what you're saying. And I worry about the divide in society because the people who are playing with AI, like right now you're playing with it and it's a fun tool and maybe it's made your life a little bit easier or something. But soon it will be an advantage. It'll be like, imagine if you were living in today's society and only some people had access to the internet and others didn't. Then you could have a very happy life without having access to the internet, but you're not going to have an advantage financially or in creating things, and I think it's going to cause a huge divide because for people who choose to use AI, it can improve your life immensely. But what does that mean for the people who don't choose to use AI? It's going to be difficult. Thomas, go ahead.
I think first of all, just to respond to what Gagan has been saying. I think it's always been like that. More famous people, more well-known people have always found it easier to get their ideas across, get them accepted than new people, whether it's academics or business leaders. Well-known people just have it easier, however they've got there. But I want to ask a question, and maybe I'm showing my utter ignorance, and forgive me. In what I do is I'm also in content, and my business is based on producing content. And I think maybe it's just because I'm an optimistic person. I also think that I'm more excited about AI, AGI than fearful of it. I think they're possible. But when I use ChatGPT now or Bard, I'm just sort of left quite underwhelmed.
Wow.
Whenever I use this stuff. And I hate to say this, but I saw an SEO, a respected SEO, I'm sure Marie knows this person, the other day say something like along the lines of ChatGPT is just autocorrect on steroids. And I thought, I have to agree with that, because I don't know how many times I've used it, and I keep persevering because Mari uses it so often. and has been talking about it, and for months now, and I've been following it all. But I put in a query or ask it to do something, and it's got Sardinia in the middle of the Swiss Alps. Sardinia is an island in the middle of the Mediterranean.
I just realized sorry, Thomas, I'm going to cut you off here because I just realized the time and I have to run to an appointment. So I want to, and we got some good conversation going. We're going to do more of these calls. I think these are really helpful. And I'm sorry that I have to cut it off, but I want to end with it. This fascinates me that I see people who I really trust and believe say like ChatGPT is useless for them. First of all, are you using GPT-4?
Yes.
Okay. If any of you are using GPT-3, the free version, it's nowhere near as good as GPT-4, right? So GPT-4 is good. This is why I realized on the weekend, I'm like, I'm going to write just a little booklet on how I prompt, because I don't understand. I wonder if it's possible that my version of ChatGPT has learned from my conversations. Like, to me, it's incredibly advanced what I've done. Like today alone, if you look in the search bar at the little logos that go next to, you know what, it doesn't matter. I was like, oh, I'd like a logo for Search Bar Live that has my logo plus a microphone on top of it. And I just asked ChatGPT to make it, and it's quite good what it made, And then when it made it, though, it mixed up the colors on my logo. So I was like, oh, that's good, but just flip it horizontally, and and then save it as a JPEG. And so that's something that I used to, it would take a team member a couple of hours to do. I would have paid somebody a couple of hours for that. I don't like ChatGPT when it comes to, I don't want to say discovering new information, but because it's really good if you want to talk about a medical topic or about a technical topic, like if you want to learn about neural networks or vector embeddings and stuff like that, like you can have incredible conversations with ChatGPT. And yeah, Renee said you used Sally, that's your ChatGPT, you named it, to brainstorm the relaunch of your old brand. Like brainstorming is incredible. I love to write, I'll kind of journal out all the stuff. Like I want to do this, this, and this. And then I ask Chat, here's the prompt that I use. Here's all my rambling. Tell me what you think of this. Come up with 3 really good ideas that will solve my problem. Then critique your ideas and come up with better ones. And it's amazing the way that you can, and usually like half the ideas it comes up with are ludicrous. They're not things that I would use, but there'll be one in there that I'm like, you know what? Tell me more about number 4. And then we'll go down this, this path. So I think of ChatGPT as an assistant, like in a Slack channel. And my assistant knows a whole bunch about the world, but they're not perfect. And so, I don't know, I've found it so helpful myself. And it blows my mind when people use it and and don't find it helpful. And I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if, go ahead, Thomas.
Can I give you an example? I'm writing an article about visiting a couple of castles in Italy. So I thought to myself this morning that I would get ChatGPT to produce a really basic introduction to castles in Italy, to save me doing it. So this was one of the things that I did. And I went through a couple of prompts. It was so bad.
Okay, try this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Thomas, because I gotta run. Yeah. I'm getting new glasses. I gotta get an eye appointment. So, but try this. Instead of asking ChatGPT to come up with it, you're the expert. So write down your notes. Say, here's everything. If somebody, say I was standing in front of you and I was interested in this topic and you're explaining it to me, jot down your notes, then use ChatGPT to take those notes and turn it into something that you can use. That's the difference, is that the innovation starts with you. It's just like if you had an employee, you wouldn't tell your employee, go write me the article on this place, because you're the expert on that place. But your employee might edit it, might give you suggestions, might say, oh, you also could consider this. You could improve it by adding these headings, things like that.
I was trying to get ChatGPT to write the introduction so that I could write my section.
Gotcha.
A sort of a basic introduction to the history of castles in Italy. So I thought that's a safe one to get ChatGPT to do, so that I
Still
could
though,
use that and then do my stuff.
you wouldn't
And
ask your assistant to write the introduction to what you're going to write because you don't know. You're the expert who put the expert content in there. Otherwise, it's content that Google or whoever could just get anywhere else on the internet. So it starts with you, and then your assistant makes it better. So I'm going to think of you when I'm going to write. I'm going to finish this book. Well, gosh, I got so many things. I also got to get my helpful content thing out, but I will get this book out with just some ideas for prompting to just kind of get you talking to ChatGPT more like I do, and sparking some innovation and ideas. Okay, well, I think that's it for today. I'm going to put this up. I got yesterday's or Friday's video and this video that we're going to get up on YouTube. I got a whole system going that eventually we should be able to have these conversations more often. I'm not going to do it every single day. I got to get caught up with a bit of administrative stuff, which soon maybe my assistants will do for me. I got to train them how to do it properly. And then I was going to play with ChatGPT a bit on this call, but we ran out of time. So we'll, you know what, maybe we'll do that in another call, is just sit around and prompt together and see what we can learn. Good stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll talk soon.